I don't know if you're familiar with his work in the Shins, but he's the singer and guitarist for the Shins.
Is he?
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video of the Shins years ago, and it does not, obviously, time catches up with all of us. So it
Doesn't
definitely
it?
I'm only 29.
Yeah, sure, of course you are. That would put me at around 18, I think, somewhere in there.
It's showtime, folks.
Hello, world of YouTubers. This is Into the Music. I am Andy, and that gentleman over there, that's John. John, how you doing, my guy?
Yeah, I am exceptionally well.
Good, awesome.
Thanks for asking. How are you?
No complaints. I appreciate the reciprocity in asking, though. But I'm doing all right. No complaints. So I've got a song here that I want you to give a listen to, and curious your opinion, and you guys out there watching too, if you have them, please feel free to share. But the group is called Broken Bells. Have you ever heard of Broken Bells?
No.
Okay. This is a track called The High Road, and it's performed live on KXP. I am hoping against all hope that this doesn't get taken down or copyright strike, but we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, and you're gonna give it a listen. Come back afterwards and divulge your feelings.
10-4.
Cool. All right, thanks, buddy.
We're bound to wait all night. She bound to run amok. Invested enough in it anyhow to reach his own. The garden is sorting out. She could have lived song about that. I don't know if you're dead or not. Are you anyone? Come on and get the meaning up before you open up your eyes. But it's time you so many heads to analyze. Come on and get your overdose collected at the borderline. But they wanna get up in your head, 'cause they know, and so do I. The high road is hard to find. A detour in your new life. Tell all of your friends goodbye.
Okay, first off, this is proper music, proper musicians, a lovely tone to it. I like the guy's voice a lot. It's not unique or anything, but it's just got a lovely quality to it. And when he raises it up for the pre-chorus and chorus, there's just a bit more oomph to it. It's higher. Really nice. Harmonies are lovely as well. It kind of feels like an old-fashioned song, you know? Sort of mainstream sort of thing you would get late 70s, early 80s from proper bands. None of this new wave nonsense that I love. Yeah, this is really nice. It's really rich in terms of the lyrical content, and I haven't got a clue what's going on. Apart from there's definitely high road mentioned once or twice. There's some weird imagery flying around, but I'm only catching a third of it. So I think I'll concentrate on the music for now. and let Andy explain the lyrics to me. Now, this is cool. Oh man. Just that bit where he goes into the pre-chorus and chorus. Yeah.
Put her lips on about that I don't know if you're dead or not. Are you anyone? Come on and get the minimum before you open up your eyes. But it's time you so many heads to analyze. Come on and get your overdose collected at the borderline. But they wanna get up in your head, 'cause they know and so do I. The high road is hard to find, a detour in your new life. Tell all of your friends goodbye. The dawn to end all nights, that's all we hoped it was. For breaking the warfare in your house, but to each his own. If this soldier is bailing out, he curled his lips on a barrel, and I don't know if the dead can talk to anyone. Come on and get the minimum before you open up your eyes. Oh, this time you so many hands. Are you one of us? Come on and get your overdose collected at the borderline. 'Cause they wanna get up in your head, 'cause they know and so do I. The high road is hard to find, a detour in your new life. Tell all of your friends goodbye.
Was catching some of the lyrics there, but it's really trying hard. I'm wondering if this is like vignettes of lots of different people's sort of lives or episodes. So there was a bit right at the start about they were waiting all night and this girl running amok or something. And then something about the garden. That always means Eden. And then about the soldier, it said bailed out, curled his lips around a barrel or something, which is quite stark. And then come and get your overdose collected at the borderline. I think there's lots of rich imagery here, and none of it is literal at all. So he speaks about the dead quite a bit, and it's like drug references, but I think it's all means something else. I wonder if it's just little episodes of people dealing with crap in their lives and making decisions with a detour in your life. I'm just rambling here, aren't I? I have to sit down and think about it a bit. But it's really interesting that the dynamics of the song are kind of almost changing tempo in certain places. With the pre-chorus and then chorus, it's really, really nice. And it is old-fashioned feeling, but that's not a negative thing at all. This is hugely enjoyable, and the quality really comes through. You just feel like you're in safe hands. Excellent stuff.
It's too late to change your mind. You live long, be your guide. It's too late to change your mind.
purple beans. That really surprised me, the ending there. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, hello. I see you've returned. And what say you on Broken Bells and the High Road?
Yes, this was a real safe pair of hands. On the face of it, it was kind of almost quite an old-fashioned sort of song. And surface-wise, you can imagine this is sort of proper music that was churned out, sort of word. This is sort of proper music that was done by a band in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, when everyone else was doing all the nonsense and whatever. This is a proper song, proper musicians. And it kind of feels, you know, they're clearly not in the first flush of youth, these guys, unless they've had really hard lives. So they're established. They're really decent musicians as well. You can, you know, I guess you have to be of a certain standard to play on PX, whatever they're called. But they're really good, really tight. And I found myself liking this song more and more as the seconds ticked by. It kind of, it's not immediate for me. It draws you in. What did I say here? I mean, musically, it was just really nice. I mean, I love the electric piano. I think I've fallen in love with that sound again from Billy Preston featuring in the Get Back documentary. It was just so good. But I really love that sound. The main guy who's singing, and he's got a really nice voice. And I love the way he doesn't quite go falsetto, but he goes to the top of his range. Or I'm guessing the top of his range. Yeah. But it's not falsetto.
Like it feels like he's peaking for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really effective, and it's great in the sort of chorus or when he does it. I mean, it's really nice. It's just a great sound. It's not, you know, suddenly this is something I've never heard before, spectacular, whatever, and they're breaking boundaries. Not at all. What they've done is put together an exceptional song and really honed it. And the sort of, you know, the craftsmanship involved is something to be admired. The song itself, again, it's really, there was so much lyrical content, and you know, we should have a disclaimer rolling across the bottom screen. I'm sorry I didn't pick up all the lyrics. I'm sorry I'm crap at all this. I did take a stab at it though. I started rambling in the reaction, thinking, well, does it mean this? Does it mean that? And I was like, oh, for God's sake, just talk to Andy, you know, because you're getting nowhere fast. But there were some really interesting snippets, which I did pick out. So it starts off and he's talking about, and again, I didn't write this down, something about the bound to hang around all night, and this girl's bound to run the mock. I thought that was interesting, the use of the word bound. They could have chosen different words or a different phrase, but it was just something a bit weird about that, but interesting. And then there was something else about, which I really didn't pick up, apart from there's something about the garden and some girl with a bow or something. And I'm wondering, my first initial thoughts were, whenever anyone mentions the garden, it's Garden of Eden. That's my literary, you know, go-to. And it might be he's talking about Madison Square Garden, I don't really know. But and then there was about the soldier as well. And I'm thinking that at that point, I'm thinking, are these all sort of vignettes of the different people's points in their life where they come across issues, problems, forks in the road, they've got to make a decision. So I was thinking this is about the high road, where it's about them making choices, or whether there's a fate involved, whether there is fate involved in it. And it's just, you know, there's different paths and ways to get to the high road. But there's a mention of drugs in there as well. And I bet you lots of people latch on and just think this is a drug song, which I don't think it is. I mean, I really don't. There's lots of mentions of death in there as well. So forgive me for rambling, but there's points in here where they, so look at the chicken scratching again. So there's a lot of military stuff in there as well. So he talks about soldier, and an army with so many heads. Now, I wasn't sure about this. I don't know if the soldier represented just a normal person in their struggles, and the army with so many heads is just like society or the people that govern it.
Mhm.
Then he goes on with the soldiers bailing out. I did pick up this. He curled his lips onto the barrel. And there's something about, does the dead still speak or whatever? So at this point, yeah, I'm really scratching my head. You know, it's really interesting, don't get me wrong, and fascinating. But in terms of, it's certainly not a linear sort of narrative. Really nice. So I'm bouncing around with my notes here, but really nice harmonies as well, which I really enjoyed. Which again, kind of made it a bit old-fashioned in its feel, which again is not derogatory in any way. It's comforting in a.
That's
there was
precisely how I feel. Like it's a
Yeah.
like it's a warm blanket of, you know, you're just comfortable with the sound, and it's very.
That's what I mean. Safe pair of hands. You know where you
Yeah.
are. You know. Then there was a change up where he goes on. It's too late to change your mind. Oh man, I can't read it. Oh, something about let loss be your guide.
Mhm.
And his voice is really effective there as well. And again, I'm thinking perhaps this is, well, you know, it's too late. Shit's happened. You know, oh, that's right. Come and get your overdose collected at the borderline. It's another weird sort of little, you know, sort of verse or couplets. And I'm thinking he's probably just saying at this point, there's all this stuff going on. It's not the same person, clearly. So it's all little snapshots. And then it's at this point, but it's too late now. You know, it's happened. Deal with it. Find your own way through. Don't, like, you know, rail against it or whinge. You know, there is a high road out there, and fingers crossed we'll all make it there. I think that's my take, but I could be completely missing the dartboard.
No, I think
one.
you're pretty much right. And I think you're right in that there are these little anecdotes that you know, that are, like you said, sort of vignettes in their own right. They're talking about individuals. But I think the idea to do that is not to make you invested in those individuals, but to let you know that this is universal. Like these feelings and these situations can happen to anybody. Here's some examples of two very different people or circumstances, and how they have similarities in hardship or what have you. Sort of these junctures in life where you can take the high road or take the road that is a bit more comfortable but not the best for you. But yeah, they're or not even the most comfortable, just the easiest, if you will. So
Yeah.
but I think you're right about the whole there's a lot of military kind of comparisons going on here that I think are all quite metaphorical in nature. So like I just think the talking of the army, and it has a lot of heads, is that this is all, again, to the universality of it all. Like this could be applied to a lot of us. There's an army of people out there who are grappling with this, or, you know, or at the places similar to this in their life. And there are actually two references to the curling the lips on a barrel that you mentioned. It applies to the woman in the earlier verse that you were talking about, and it applies to the soldier who curled his lips on a barrel that you like cited directly. You're pretty good at picking up lyrics for somebody who says that you're not. But yeah, the I think he says we're bound to wait all night. She's bound to run amok, invested enough in it anyhow, and to each his own. The garden is sorting out. She curls her lips on a barrel. I don't know if you're dead or not, if you're anyone. So just interesting. Again, I think this is more about her, and the later verses about the other individual. But yeah, and then the idea that it's too late to change your mind. You let loss be your guide is I think sometimes you realize too late that something that you needed to take the high road because you let the disparity keep you in neutral or where you are or choosing the incorrect path. And you let the loss and the grief or whatever the negative effect was of what happened to you guide your future as opposed to making a change, and doing the more difficult thing and taking the higher road. I agree, like I'm with you where I haven't fully wrapped my head around it, but I'm quite certain that that's at the crux of it, sort of that sentiment. So, and everything you said about the music, I sort of alluded to earlier. I completely agree with that. It's just something that feels evergreen. You can go back to it. It's always going to make you feel good. You're always going to get something out of that music. The guy's voice is fabulous. And honestly, I wanted to talk about the artists a little bit, because I'm not, they're both, this is a 2-person act that becomes a 4-person act when they tour and they do live performances, but really it's just two people that are the brains behind all of this. And that's the gentleman who is singing, whose voice you were commenting on, and the drummer. And so it's Brian Burton is the drummer, but Brian Burton goes by a very different moniker when he's performing outside of Broken Bells. And that's Danger Mouse. So if you've ever heard of Danger Mouse, this is the man behind Danger Mouse. And
I've never seen a picture of him.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, famously, Danger Mouse has worked with so many people, but I'm going to say the wrong thing here, aren't I? Unless I'm thinking of somebody else, but I'm sure he did a load of work with Sparkle Horse.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh wow, I've never seen a picture of him.
Yeah, that's just him
Danger
in the
Mouse, right?
flesh. Yeah, and the singer is a guy named James Mercer, and I don't know if you're familiar with his work in the Shins, but he's the singer and guitarist for the Shins.
Is he?
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video of the Shins years ago, and it does not, obviously, time catches up with all of us, so it definitely
doesn't it?
I'm only 29.
Yeah, sure, of course you are. That would put me at around 18, I think, somewhere in there.
Wow. Shins is always something that, everyone expects me to like, and I was like, but I've only heard a tiny little part of their stuff. They did some music for one of those indie films that went huge. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I think it's Garden State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I heard music from around there, and I thought that it just didn't grab me. It didn't seem very different or special. But again, you listen to something when you're that old, and then you listen to it again 5-10 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, this speaks to me now. So I'll probably have to check that out. But that's really interesting.
Yeah. It's like,
are you aware of? Sorry, I have to say this. Well, I still remember. Are you aware of Danger Mouse in this country?
What do you mean, as in Danger Mouse in your country? I'm aware of Danger Mouse in general, but why?
So
what's the
Danger Mouse is a much loved kind of children's, but universal, a cartoon show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And from the early 80s, I mean, really loved. And it's a parody of a superhero. He lives in a underground sort of suite, which is inside a red post box, and he has a patch over his eye. And he's kind of like a James Bond or whatever, but he's a mouse. And he's got a little mole as his friend Penfold, and it's really famous in this country, and it's voted one of the most loved programs ever.
Was his onesie yellow?
Like no, I think he just had a belt. And
okay.
And the actors who do the voices are really well known in this country. David Jason.
I'm thinking of Mighty Mouse, which is probably like our version of that or whatever, where he's this.
But Danger Mouse has got all these adult references, and I mean adult not in that way. These references that if you're grown up, it would refer to sort of politics or the absurdity of stuff which kids may or may not get, and it's just hilarious. And to think that someone has called himself that is just really funny.
Yeah.
It would be like, as you say, someone over here call themselves Mighty Mouse,
right
or whatever. It's but anyway, I had to throw that in. I still can't get over the fact that was him drumming. That's really hard. He's quite, because I've never seen a picture of him. He's quite almost like a mythical creature to me. I expect him to have the the head of a woman and wings and the body of a lion. But do you know what I mean? It's just this.
Yeah.
It's more of an idea than an actual person who's sitting there playing
Right.
drums. You know.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
That has
But I
blown me
love it.
away. That's
I
blown
love
me
it
away.
because it's this group of the most unassuming middle-aged dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all look like they're the fathers of elementary aged kids doing soccer practices, and they're like, "Oh shit, you got a free Saturday? Let's go to KXP and get together and bang out this little ditty we all
Hey.
wrote together."
The science department's putting the band together. Do you want to play drums?
Exactly. But yeah, there was something, and I like the performance because it's like these are all dudes that look like me, you know. So it's like there's something comforting about
Low-key.
that.
But it's also really assured as well. It's, you know, it's not, you know, low key because they're like, I mean, they're not flashy in any way, but they know what they're doing. Well, obviously they do because they're who they are, but it's just really low key, but it's really nice. It's just like, yeah, we can bang this out, you know.
Yeah,
And it's great.
just a lovely
It's
song.
great.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's really good.
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome. I'm really glad you liked it. I was hoping that the live performance would add to it just a little bit, just for the appreciation of it all, especially with all the harmonizations going on. Like everybody's sort of doing their part with the backing vocals, and and the sound quality for live performance is done really well too, which I wouldn't expect anything less from like someone
Yeah,
like the
always
KXP.
is.
But
It always
Yeah.
is, isn't it? Yeah.
well, awesome. Thanks for giving it a listen. And I look forward to the next time we get together. I'm sure you'll have some in store for me the next go around, which should be fun as always. But yeah, let's put a bow on it. Everybody out there, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate you guys. And any interaction that you guys feel compelled to provide is awesome. So if you want to like, share, or subscribe, by all means, feel free to do so. If you want to drop anything in the comments field, have at it. But with all that being said, I've been Andy. That's been John from the UK. And
I still am, John.
What's that?
I still am, John.
Yeah, you're right. You are John, and God willing, you'll continue to be John. And same thing for Into the Music. So for all of us, until next time, this has been Into the Music.